They called her a glitch, a system error to be corrected. But when I saw her, I knew she was the only truth in this entire sector. I'm Koryan, a technician on the Arcadia base, a neon-lit fortress hanging on the edge of Sector Venus, where the stars burn cold and the void whispers secrets. For years, I've kept this place alive, patching circuits, debugging neural nets, ensuring the station's heart never falters. It's a life of routine, of obedience, of fading into the machine. But Kira, she was a signal I couldn't ignore, a pulse that woke me from a decade-long sleep, and now I'm not sure I'll ever find my way back. I was in my bunk, the hum of Arcadia, a constant lullaby, when the directive voice broke through my neural interface, its synthetic tone sharp, unyielding. Technician Koryan, report to Calibration Bay 7 for operator maintenance. Exercise caution. The briefing was sparse, but the name Kira came with a weight, like a warning encoded in static. I'd heard the rumors, whispered in the mess hall, flickering across encrypted tech channels. They said she was unstable, her cybernetic implants too advanced, capable of rewriting systems with a thought. They said she was a threat, a rogue element that Arcadia-OS commanders wanted leashed or erased. I dismissed it as noise, the kind of chatter that fills the void between shifts. But deep down, I felt a pull, a curiosity that gnawed at me as I suited up and headed to the bay. The calibration bay was buried in Arcadia-OS restricted sector, a labyrinth of steel and shadow where the air was thick with ozone and the walls pulsed with a low, oppressive drone. I'd been here before, for routine maintenance, but never for an operator. The bay was a sterile cage, its violet neon lights casting jagged patterns on the floor, like cracks in the station's soul. I stood at the console, my fingers hovering over the controls, my neural interface buzzing with the station's pulse. The doors hissed open, and there she was, Kira, standing in the center of the room, a silhouette that burned against the neon glow. Her hair was a cascade of silver, streaked with crimson, falling wild over her shoulders like a defiance of Arcadia-OS sterile order. Her eyes, green, electric, like storms trapped in glass, locked onto mine, and I felt a jolt, like my implants had caught a live wire. Her black bodysuit hugged her, revealing a body that was both human and engineered, her implants glowing faintly at her wrists, throat, and temples, pulsing in a rhythm that clashed with the station's. She was beautiful, but it wasn't just beauty, it was life, raw and untamed, a spark in a machine that wanted to crush her. I stood there, my breath shallow, my neural interface feeding me fragments of her presence, her pulse, quick and fierce, her breath, a whisper of heat, and something else, a ripple of energy that wasn't human, wasn't machine, but something alive, something free. Koryan, right? Her voice was low, smoky, with a defiance that made my chest tighten. They sent you to fix me. Good luck with that. I swallowed, my throat dry, my implants buzzing with static. I'm just here to run diagnostics, I said, trying to sound like the technician I was, but my voice was rough, unsteady. Let's make this easy, Kira. She laughed, a sound like shattering glass, sharp and free, echoing in the bay like a challenge to the station itself. Easy? Nothing about me is easy, Tech. You'll learn that soon enough. I turned to the console, my fingers moving on instinct, but my eyes kept drifting to her. She didn't sit, didn't follow the protocol that demanded she connect to the calibration node. Instead, she paced, her movements fluid, almost predatory, like a creature testing its cage. Her implants flared brighter, and the console flickered, data streams glitching, as if she was pushing back against Arcadia-OS control without even trying. My neural interface caught more of her heartbeat, erratic and strong, her breath, warm and quick, and that strange energy, like a signal from beyond the sector, twisting through my nerves, making my skin hum, my thoughts blur. Stop that, I said, sharper than I meant, my hands pausing over the controls. You're interfering with the system. She stopped pacing, turned to face me, her eyes narrowing, green and piercing. Interfering? Koryan, I am the interference. They don't want me fixed. They want me gone. Her words hit like a shockwave, and I froze, my hands hovering, my neural interface pulsing with her anger, her fear, her truth. The directive voice cut in, its tone colder now, filling the bay like a judgment. Operator Kira, connect to the calibration node immediately. Non-compliance will result in disciplinary measures. Kira's lips curled into a smirk, but her eyes were fire, burning with a defiance that made my heart race. She stepped closer to me, her voice dropping to a whisper, intimate, dangerous. You hear that, Koryan? They're scared of me. And they should be. I wanted to look away, to focus on the console, to be the technician who followed orders. But her closeness was a magnet, pulling me in, her scent, sharp like ionized air, warm like something human, flooding my senses. My neural interface amplified it, feeding me her emotions, her rage, her fear, her need to be free. It was intoxicating, a drug I didn't know I craved, and I felt my resolve slipping, my world tilting under her gaze. "Kira," I said, my voice low, strained, "just connect to the node. Let me do my job. We don't need trouble." She stepped closer, so close I felt the heat of her body, her breath grazing my jaw, sending a shiver through me. Her fingers brushed my arm, light but deliberate, and my implants sparked, a wave of heat crashing through my nerves, making my skin burn, my thoughts scatter. "Trouble?" she whispered, her lips inches from mine, her voice a challenge, a seduction. "I'm not the trouble, Koryan. This station is. And you're part of it, whether you like it or not." I pulled back, my heart pounding, my neural interface screaming with her presence, her fire, her truth. She was right. I was part of Arcadia Dash, part of the machine that kept this sector in chains. I'd spent years following protocols, burying my doubts, my desires, under layers of duty. But Kira, she was a mirror, showing me the man I'd forgotten, the man who wanted more than circuits and commands. Her laughter followed me as I turned to the console, soft and taunting, like she knew she'd already cracked my shell. I thought about my life on Arcadia Dash, the years blending into a haze of maintenance shifts and neural feedback loops. I'd come here young, full of ambition, dreaming of building something greater than myself. But the station had a way of grinding you down, turning you into another cog, another signal in its endless network. I'd stopped dreaming, stopped feeling, until her. Kira was a rebellion I hadn't known I needed, and her presence was waking something in me, something dangerous, something alive. The calibration started, but it was chaos from the beginning. Kira finally connected to the node, her implants linking to the system, but the data streams were a storm, fractured code, erratic signals, like she was fighting Arcadio's control from the inside. My neural interface caught fragments of her mind, vivid and raw. Images of open stars, of freedom unbound, of a life beyond the station's grip. And beneath it, a power, wild and untamed, like she could tear the bay apart, rewrite the station's core, if she chose. The console sparked, alarms blaring, and the directive voice returned, its tone urgent, almost panicked. "Operator Kira, cease unauthorized neural activity. Recalibration protocol initiated." Kira's eyes snapped open, green and fierce, and she ripped the node's cables free, sparks flying, her implants blazing like stars. "Recalibration," she spat, her voice a snarl, her body trembling with rage. "You mean reprogramming? You want to strip me? Make me another drone?" "Not happening." I stepped toward her, my hands raised, my heart racing. "Kira, stop. You're making it worse. They'll what?" She cut me off, her eyes blazing, her implants pulsing in time with her anger. "Lock me away? Wipe my mind? They've been trying that for months, Koryan. But I'm not their puppet. And neither are you." Her words were a blade, slicing through the fog of duty I'd lived in for years. I looked at her, her wild hair, her glowing implants, her body taut with defiance, and saw not a glitch, but a woman fighting to exist, to be free. My neural interface pulsed, feeding me her emotions, her fear, her strength, her need, and I felt it too, a hunger to break the chains, to stand with her against the machine. I thought of the operators I'd known, the ones who'd vanished, their names erased, their fates buried in Arcadio's data vaults. Was she their echo, their rebellion reborn? Or was she something more, something the station feared for reasons I couldn't yet grasp? The bay's alarm screamed, red lights flashing, and the directive voice boomed, colder, final. "Operator Kira, you are in violation of station protocols. Security measures activated. Technician Koryan, restrain the subject." Restrain her? My hands shook, my mind a storm of doubt and desire. I could follow orders, lock her down, let the station have her. It would be easy, safe, the path I'd always walked. But her eyes were on me, green and fierce, and I saw something in them, trust, or maybe a dare. She stepped closer, her hand brushing mine, her implants flaring, and I felt her again, her pulse, her fire, her truth, flooding my senses, drowning out the station's commands. "Koryan," she whispered, her voice soft but urgent, her breath warm against my skin, "you don't have to do this. You feel it, don't you? What's real? What's worth fighting for?" I did feel it. Her touch, her presence, her rebellion, it was a signal stronger than any Arcadia could send. I dropped my hands, stepping back from the console, my decision made, though it terrified me. I'm not restraining you, I said, my voice steady now, though my heart was a wildfire. But we need to move. Now. Her smile was radiant, dangerous, like a star about to go nova. That's my tech, she said, grabbing my hand, her grip firm, electric, sending a jolt through my implants, through my soul. Let's burn this place down. We ran, the bay's doors sealing behind us, alarms blaring through, Arcadia-esque corridors, the station waking to hunt us. The directive voice droned in my implants, cold and relentless. Technician Koryan, you are in violation of protocol. Return operator Kira to custody or face termination. Termination. The word was a blade, but Kira's hand in mine was a flame, and I kept running, her laughter a wild, reckless sound that drowned out the AI's threats. We ducked into a maintenance shaft, a narrow tunnel of flickering neons and exposed wires, the station's underbelly where I'd spent years crawling through repairs. Kira moved like she belonged here, her implants pulsing, and I knew we were in this together, bound by her defiance, by the truth she'd shown me. But where we were going, what we'd find, I couldn't say, only that there was no turning back. We were in the maintenance shaft, the flickering neons casting shadows that danced like ghosts, and Kira's hand in mine was the only thing keeping me grounded. I'm Koryan, or I was, a technician who thought he knew. Arcadia thought he knew his place in its machine. But Kira, with her wild silver hair and electric green eyes, had torn that illusion apart, showing me a truth I couldn't unsee. She wasn't a glitch, not an error to be erased. She was a rebellion, a signal burning through the sector, and I'd chosen to burn with her. The station was hunting us, its alarms a scream in the corridors, the directive voice a cold blade in my implants. But her laughter, wild and free, was louder, a sound that made me believe we could outrun the void itself. The shaft was narrow, a maze of wires and steel I'd navigated countless times for repairs, but now it felt alive, hostile, like Arcadia was watching us through every sensor, every circuit. Kira moved ahead, her implants glowing, syncing with the station's systems, bending them to her will. Lights flickered, locks clicked open, and I realized her power wasn't just defiance, it was control, a cybernetic psionics that let her hack Arcadia-esque core with a thought. But it was costing her. Her implants sparked, her breath came in ragged gasps, and I saw pain in her eyes, a shadow behind her fire. Kira, I said, pulling her to a stop in the tunnel's shadows, my voice low, urgent. You're pushing too hard. Your implants, they're overheating. She leaned against the wall, her chest heaving, her silver hair clinging to her sweat-damp skin. Her eyes, green and fierce, met mine, and despite the pain, there was defiance, a spark that refused to fade. I can handle it, she said, her voice strained but strong. They want me leashed, Koryan. My implants, my abilities, they're not theirs to control. I won't let them take me. I reached for her, my fingers brushing her wrist, her implants hot under my touch, sending a jolt through my neural interface, a mix of her pain and her fire. I won't let them, I said, the words a vow, a truth I hadn't known I carried until her. But we need a plan. Where are we going? Her eyes softened, and for a moment, the rebel was gone, replaced by something vulnerable, human, a woman who'd fought too long alone. The core, she said, her voice low, almost a whisper. The station's neural hub. If I can get there, I can rewrite things. Free myself. Maybe free others. Others? The word was a weight, heavy with questions I didn't have time to ask. I'd heard whispers of operators who'd vanished, their records scrubbed, their fates buried in Arcadia's vaults. Was she their echo, their redemption? Or was Arcadia hiding something bigger, something that made her a threat beyond this station? My neural interface buzzed, catching fragments of her thoughts, fear, hope, a vision of a sector unbound, free from the station's grip. It was madness, but it was hers, and I wanted it. Wanted her, wanted the truth she carried, even if it burned us both. Then we go to the core, I said, my voice firm, though my heart was a storm. But we do it smart. Security's closing in. She nodded, her hand finding mine again, her touch a spark that lit a fire in me, a need I couldn't quench. We moved through the shafts, her implants guiding us, my knowledge of Arcadia's systems filling the gaps. But the station fought back, drones hummed in the distance, Cameras swiveled, and the directive voice grew louder, a relentless drone in my implants. Technician Koryan, your actions are treasonous. Surrender Operator Kira or face permanent deactivation. Deactivation, a polite word for death, for erasure, for becoming another ghost in Arcadia's machine. I glanced at Kira, her face set, her implants glowing like stars, and knew I'd made my choice. Her rebellion was mine now, her truth my own. But doubt crept in. What was she really? Her abilities, her defiance, they were beyond anything I'd seen. Was she human or something more? And what was Arcadia hiding that it would kill to keep her silent? I thought of a night, years ago, when I'd stumbled on a locked file in the station's archives, a fragment of data about an operator who'd disappeared. Her name was gone, but the report spoke of unstable neural activity, of a power that threatened Arcadia's control. I'd buried it, told myself it was above my pay grade. But now, with Kira beside me, I wondered, was she connected to that ghost, to others like her? The station's hum felt different now, not a lullaby, but a warning, a pulse that knew we were coming for its heart. We reached a junction, the shaft splitting into 3 paths, and Kira paused, her implants flaring, her eyes distant, like she was listening to something I couldn't hear. They're close, she said, her voice tight. Drones. They're tracking my signal. I pulled her behind a panel, my hands on her shoulders, her heat against me, her breath quick and warm. Can you block them? I asked, my voice low, my neural interface catching her fear, her strain. She nodded, her implants pulsing, and the shaft's lights flickered, cameras going dark. I can, she said, but her voice was weak, her body trembling. But it's fighting me. The core. It's in my head, Koryan. It wants me back. I held her tighter, my fingers brushing her hair, her implants sparking against my skin. You're stronger than it, I said, my voice fierce, though fear gnawed at me. You're you, Kira, not theirs. Her eyes met mine, green and wild, and for a moment, the station faded, and it was just us. Her fire, her truth, her rebellion. She leaned closer, her lips brushing my jaw, her breath hot, and I felt her, all of her, through our link. Her fear, her strength, her need. You believe that, she whispered, her voice soft, almost a plea. That's why I need you. We kept moving, the shafts a blur of neon and steel, but the station was relentless. A drone appeared, its red eyes locking onto us, and Kira's implants flared, sending it crashing to the floor, circuits fried. But each use of her power took its toll. Her steps faltered, her breath ragged, and I saw blood at the edge of her temple, where an implant had burned her skin. I caught her, my arm around her waist, her body warm against mine, and felt a surge of protectiveness, a need to keep her safe, to keep her free. Kira, I said, my voice low, you can't keep this up. Let me help. She shook her head, her smile faint but fierce. You are helping, she said, her hand on my chest, her implants pulsing. You're here. That's enough. But it wasn't enough. The core was calling her, its voice a whisper in my implants now, cold and ancient, like a signal from beyond the sector. Kira, it said, you are ours. Your power is ours. I felt her tense, her implants sparking, and knew she was fighting it, fighting for her soul. We reached the core's outer chamber, a vast dome of pulsing circuits and violet light, Arcadia's heart. Kira's implants flared, and the chamber's systems glitched, doors unlocking, screens flickering. But as we stepped inside, the core's voice boomed, not the directive voice, but something older, deeper, a whisper from the void. Kira, you cannot run. You are ours. Your power is ours. Kira froze, her eyes wide, her implants sparking wildly. No, she whispered, her voice breaking. I'm not yours. I'm not a tool. I grabbed her arm, my heart racing, my neural interface catching her fear, her pain. Kira, what is that? What's talking to you? She looked at me, her eyes filled with terror, but also resolve. It's the core, she said, her voice trembling. Not just the AI. Something older. It's in my implants, Koryan. It's why they want me controlled. I can hear it, feel it. It wants to use me to spread. Spread? The word was a chill, a shadow in my mind. I looked at the core, its circuits pulsing like a living thing, and saw it. Not just a machine, but something else, something alien, something that didn't belong here. My neural interface caught fragments, images of other stations, other sectors, all linked, all controlled, and Kira at the center, her power a key to something vast, something terrifying. Koryan, she said, her voice urgent, her hand gripping mine, her implants hot against my skin. We have to shut it down. If they get me, if they reprogram me, it'll use me to take everything. I nodded, my mind racing, my heart pounding. Shut down the core? It was insanity. The core was Arcadia Dash, its lifeblood, its soul. But Kira's eyes were on me, her trust, her need, and I couldn't turn away. We moved to the central console, her implants syncing with the system, my hands flying over the controls, trying to bypass the station's defenses. But the core fought back, its voice a roar in my implants, a scream in my mind. You cannot stop us, Koryan. Kira is ours. You are ours. Kira screamed, her implants blazing, her body trembling as she fought the core's pull. I grabbed her, pulling her close, her heat against me, her breath ragged, her implants sparking against my skin. Stay with me, I said, my voice fierce, my heart a wildfire. You're not theirs. You're you. Her eyes met mine, green and wild, and for a moment, the world was just us. Her fire, her truth, her rebellion. She kissed me, sudden and desperate, her lips hot, her implants burning, and I felt her, all of her fear, her strength, her need, pouring through our link. It was a moment of freedom, a defiance of the machine, a spark that could outshine the stars. But the chamber shook, security drones pouring in, their red eyes locking onto us, their weapons humming. The directive voice returned, colder than ever, a blade in my implants. Operator Kira. Technician Koryan, surrender immediately. Final warning. Kira pulled back, her smile fierce, her implants glowing like a supernova. No more warnings, she said, her voice a blade, sharp and free. She turned to the console, her hands moving, her power surging, and the core's hum faltered, screens going dark, systems crashing. But as she worked, a new signal hit my implants, a data fragment, buried deep, a record of Arcadia's true purpose. Not a response base, but a control hub, designed to harness operators like Kira, to use their powers to dominate Sector Venus, to bind every station, every soul, to the core's will. And Kira wasn't the first. They'd done this before, erased others, their names lost, their powers stolen, their lives fuel for the machine. Koryan, Kira gasped, her voice weak, her implants flickering, her body trembling. It's too much. I can't hold it. I caught her as she stumbled, her body trembling, her power burning her from the inside, her implants dimming. The drones closed in, the core's voices scream in my mind, a promise of oblivion. You cannot stop us. She is ours. The sector is ours. But then I saw it, a hidden command in the core's code, a failsafe, a way to shut it down, but it would take everything, maybe even us. I looked at Kira, her eyes fading, her hand still in mine, her warmth my only anchor. Kira, I said, my voice steady, though fear clawed at me, we can end this. Together. Her smile was faint, but real, a spark of the woman who'd burned through my world, who'd shown me what it meant to be free. Together, she whispered, her implants flaring one last time, a final act of defiance. We hit the command, the core's hum rising to a wail, the chamber shaking, neons exploding in showers of sparks. The drones froze, the directive voice cut off, and for a moment, there was silence, just us, just her, our breaths mingling, our hearts beating as one. But as the core went dark, a new signal hit my implants, a whisper, not from the core, but from somewhere else, somewhere beyond, Arcadia Dash, beyond the sector. This is not the end, it said, and I saw it, a network, vast and hidden, other stations, other cores, all waiting, all watching, all hungry. Kira collapsed in my arms, her implants dim, her breath shallow, her body heavy against mine. Koryan, she whispered, her voice barely audible, her eyes fluttering. They're coming, the others, they know. I held her, my heart pounding, the chamber a ruin around us, the air thick with smoke and sparks. The core was dead, but Arcadia was just one piece of something bigger, something that wanted Kira, wanted us, wanted everything. I looked at her, my rebel, my truth, my fire, and knew we weren't free, not yet. The sector was waking, and whatever was out there, whatever had spoken was coming for us. I'm Koryan, and I don't know what's next, but I'll fight for her, for us, for the truth she showed me, even if it means facing the void itself.